So electrical load monitoring is one of the services we provide here at ESI Electrical Safety Inspections. A few of the reasons that we might want to undertake an electrical load survey could be we're looking to add EV charging points to commercial premises. We might be looking to add air conditioning or chillers or any kind of big load to our premises where we need to understand what the baseline consumption of our property is at the moment. We're here today at a caravan park. One of the reasons we're looking at their electrical load is to see if everything is balanced in the way of loading. So we're making sure they're not getting reactive charges on their energy bills. So here we are in the main electrical cupboard, and we've got the electrical intake over here. We're quite lucky in this situation because we've got this beautiful 6-inch trunk in here to be able to just open up and pop our CT metering coils into place here quite nicely and safely. We then link our energy monitor into place. We've got the L component SPC Pro here that we're using, and this measures the electricity consumption on a timed basis, normally every few seconds, taking a capture that we can then compare either to the energy meter reading that we've got for that period of time to make sure that the meter is accurate, or that we've got that load profile for the property. So this one uses the CT coils, and we've got a separate supply that comes off to a power socket so that we can register what the incoming supply power level is at, what the voltage and frequency are. We see that the log is taking place here at the moment, perfectly safe for us to leave in. We're in a locked electrical room here, so we can leave this piece of trunking off because we know the only people that are going to be getting access to this building are going to be an electrician or a maintenance manager under approval, and they're going to know what's going on in here. We'd normally pop some safety signs in place, and we'd pop some signage in place outside the room to make people aware that there's energy logging taking place and that there are covers removed. So this is one of the easy ways to install. So quite often when we're taking a whole of site comparison, then we're doing it close to the meter point, straight onto the meter tails, so that we can take those measurements. I'm going to show you now some of the other areas that we might want to take some energy meter readings and how we do it across a larger site. So we might come from here off to a bus bar, and then that bus bar might feed off to lots of different buildings throughout the premises or to a large electricity panel. And then we might actually want to measure what's coming in at the supply, but also for a certain distribution board that we're planning to put some equipment onto the end of. And we're going to show you now how and where. So here we're in front of a live cabinet, so I have to be a little bit careful as to what we're reaching in and touching, but this gives you a really great example of how we might need to connect up one of our energy loggers in the workplace. So this panel here, as we said, is fed from the electrical isolator just below, and we would need to connect onto these 3 or 4 grey cables here at the bottom. Now, most of our energy loggers come with flexible leads, so we're able to fish those in and out through those cables. But because those cables are going to come outside of the cabinet, we quite often have to either leave a cabinet cover off or be in a position where we can put a temporary cover across the board and have an access out to our logger, our energy meter. Now, there's a lot of occasions where we just want to monitor one outgoing circuit from a distribution board. So we can either use one of our 3-phase loggers with those flexible coils and just measure one outgoing set of cables, or we have some single clamp meters that are able to either fit within the panel, so we'll quite easily fit inside the space here and log the outgoing supply on this single circuit, or we have some other tools that we can put in line that would mean that we have to make a small adaptation to the board to be able to take that measurement. But there's lots of different things that we start to need to understand in the way of power profile, whether that's power factor, whether that's total load, whether that's balancing of phases, all sorts of things that we can gain information from. This power logging service, or energy load monitoring as we call it, is a fantastic tool and works really well alongside electrical safety inspections. The electrical condition reports all works really well with thermal imaging as well as tools to help us understand what's happening with the power in our premises, where we're making losses, but also where our maximum demands are, and making sure that the installation is designed for that. So I'll come back to you in just a moment. We've talked about maximum demand and understanding our electrical load profile within our business, but why is it really important? Well, this is the incoming electrical supply. This is what we call the service head, and this is the supply cable or service cable. They come from the DNO, or the local electricity distributor. This is a Lucy 200 amp service head. So this has got 3 fuses in here that are 200 amp rated. On occasion, depending on the customer, when they applied for the original supply, they could be downrated to either 100 amp or 160 amp fuses in there. And sometimes we have to inquire to find out what that's been rated to. But assuming we've got 200 amps coming in here, we have 200 amps per phase of incoming supply. Now, depending on what we use throughout the site, depends on how much baseline load that we've got and how much capacity we've got for future expansion. Now, there's some things that we can find out during our survey that are really important. So, for example, we want to know when the peaks and the troughs are in our electrical consumption. We want to know how high that peak is or how low the minimum demand are. But the other important things are that all three of these outgoing phases are balanced as best as we can, because whenever there's waste or inefficiency in our electrical systems, then that can cause heat, but it can also cause us problems with reactive charges which are penalties for us using more energy than we've agreed to or using it in an inefficient way in our business. And that's where our electrical load surveys can really help us give us a full profile of what's happening in the business at any time. We might want to change the way that production lines are being run, or when things happen within the business at different times of the day or night, to allow us to have extra capacity without having to change this supply. Because if you have to replace this cable into the building and replace a substation, then we're talking about major costs to a business, whereas actually sometimes efficiency can come from things like power factor correction, voltage optimization, and lots of other tools like load monitoring and load balancing throughout the system. So there's lots of ways we can help businesses. I'm Jamie Morgan. I'm an electrical engineer at ESI Electrical Safety, and I look forward to meeting you when we come to do some electrical load monitoring for you in the future.